Hi, I'm Angel Williams with IPTM. I'm a coordinator here, and I'm going to go over the iPASS user tutorial with you. iPASS stands for Integrated Program Activity Submission System. With your iPASS user tutorial, these should have been sent out to you with your executed contract. We're going to go over today your table of contents, and I'm going to show you how to log in to it, the iPASS website. So you'll go to ipass.alerttodayflorida.com. If you ever forget your password, please click on Forget Password, and it will send you another email to reset your password. With this, when you log in, this will show you you're welcome to iPASS. I'm using the development website, so please don't get confused with it saying that on there. If you have active contracts, your active contracts will show up here on your dashboard. In this case, there's a DRE and a ped bike program. I'm only going to go over your ped bike program. So here you can see your pie graph. It will show you what percentage you have used and what percentage you have available. You also have a magnifying glass that will take you to your actual active contract. And with your active contract, you'll have your documents, notes, target areas, media releases, detail reports, invoices, and reports. And this is where your main screen where you'll see your pie graph that also shows you invoice not paid, estimated not invoiced, estimated remaining. You'll also see that your agency name, you have a magnifying glass that will take you to your agency screen as well as up above. You have home, my agency, my contracts, bicycle light distributions. If we go to my agency, you see how it switches between the screens. On this one, you have personnel, training and pay, contracts, notes, documents, and bicycle lights. You'll also notice over here under account information, this is where you have your notification settings, my profile, past notifications, and where you can log out. If we look at notification settings, these are the settings, and it can show you whether it's top left, top right, bottom right, where you would like them displayed. You also have your browser notifications. When something is submitted for approval or something is approved or denied, you would get a notification. You can set this up how you'd like. There's also email notifications. You can do immediate or you can do a digest. And then there's also your email subscriptions. Please enable your email important information messages. This is where sometimes I'll send global notifications to all the agencies to make you aware of what's going on with the program. If you also go to my profile, this is where you can put your name, your last name, your phone number, and what time zone. You can reset your password, and you can do a two-factor authentication if you'd like to have that set up. You can also go to past notifications where it'll tell you what has happened in iPASS since you've last logged in. So if we go to My Agency, I'm going to walk you through your Personnel tab. If you've just started, you'll see that you will not have any officers listed here. This is where you would go to the Add Personnel. You would put in the title, first name, last name. If the person's going to be a primary, please check the primary box. You'd enter their email address. Some agencies will allow officers to enter their own details, so you would have to have their email address in there, and then you must check the box, Create User Account. Phone number and notes. This is where you can enable or disable your officers. You can have somebody that can be listed as an admin, an HVE coordinator, or an HVE officer. You'll also notice this little help icon. If you hover over it, it will give you the details of what's required for that. If it is going to be an HVE officer, you must check HVE officer when you enter this personnel, or they will not show up in your training and pay tab. And then please click Save. Once you've entered these, if you have any edits that need to be done, you click on the pencil Or if you need to disable an officer, like they're no longer with your agency, but they may have detailed reports linked to them, it will not allow you to trash using the trash can. You'll have to just enable or disable by toggling the enable and disabled button. You can also see from this screen who your primary is, who your admins are, and who you have designated as your invoice signers. You can also enable all of your officers that you have ever listed in iPASS. You would just toggle the include disabled personnel. Going to your training and pay tab, this is where you'll enter your officer's HVE training status and their pay status. Before an officer can work in HVE detail, they must have approved and current training and approved and current pay status. If you hover over, you'll see that some of these are expired. Some say pending approval, which means you've entered it and it's pending our approval. If you click on the expired tab of your officer, this will enable you to enter any additional training that they've done. So you can see that this officer probably has taken the 4-hour in-person course and then has done a 2-hour online refresher course. If they've done another one, you just click add training. It will default to today's date, so please make sure you enter in the correct date that they took the training. And then you would, if you're going to use part of your funding for training of your officers and you have a fully executed contract at the time that they took the training, then you can put in the billable hours there and then you submit for approval. If you'd like to see a list of your agency's active officers, if you click on the agency active officer report, it'll pull up a report that lists all of your officers, and you can see when they've completed, whether it's expired or not, when they do expire, and their pay. Remember also the pay effective date is the date that the pay changes. And then that'll list out your base and fully loaded. If you go to the pay status and you want to double check the pay status of an officer, you can click on the magnifying glass. And this will tell you whether their effective date, their base rate, their overtime rate, their fully loaded overtime rate, and then the explanation of the fully loaded overtime rate. So you're asked to please put in, if you're claiming FICA, retirement, or workman's comp, that you please put that in the fully loaded explanation. So to add a pay, you just click on Add Pay. Remember, again, it will default to today's date, so put in the correct effective date, the pay rate, and if you hover over the question mark, it'll tell you the overtime rate, which is normally 1.5 times your base rate, and your fully loaded rate. So please make sure that you put in and remember that overtime, insurance, incentive pay, car usage, etc. are not permitted in this contract, and your description of what you're doing for the fully loaded, and submit for approval. Next, you have the Contracts tab. This just shows you your active contracts, which was also on your dashboard. You can look at your inactive contracts if you'd like to see what you did in the past years, and this will show you all of your contracts that your agency has done. Bicycle lights tab, you can enter them here, but we highly suggest that you enter them while you're entering the detailed reports. The detailed reports will also put any bicycle lights you added to this tab as well. So now we'll go to My Contracts. Again, at any time, if you want to go back to your dashboard, you can press the Home button, or you can click on to go to My Contracts, the actual contracts with the magnifying glass. Here you'll see that it'll list out your date of execution of your contract, your awarded funds, any pending funding that you have, and then it shows you a pie graph for your contract progress. The amount that you've invoiced, your estimated not invoiced, estimated remaining funds, and it averages what it thinks that you'll be out of funds depending on the pay rate and your estimated averages of hours that you are doing per week. It also, please verify that your shipping addresses are correct and your readmittance for your invoices is correct too as well. If you have any changes in your primary contact, financial contact, or street operations contact, please email me and I can change those for you. You'll also see under the Documents tab, this is where your letter of support, your HVE operational plan, and your executed contract will reside. If at any time you need to download those, you have the download icon. And then if you need to edit anything, you can look at that too as well. Notes or any notes that you've put in or I have put in for your agency, you'll see those here. Target area tab, this is where your target areas are listed. You'll see that it also tells you what tier 1 and tier 2. Remember, your tier 2s cannot be worked until February 1st of the contract cycle. Your tier 1s can be worked immediately. It also lists out your from and to for your main road. It also will tell you what days of the week you're allowed to work it. In this case, you're only allowed to work this location on Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., Fridays 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., and Saturday 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. This contract is based specifically on these locations only at these days and these times. You'll also see here on your target area tab that you have a target area list. This is something that you may want to print out for your officers or post somewhere. It'll list out all your target areas with the days and times available. You also have on that target area your target area activities report. This will allow you to look at the progress that has been done at your different locations. You can look at educational, warning, citations. Here it'll break down the percentage of your agency has worked each location. In this case, location 1 has 50% of the work done there. Location 2 is 50%. Please make sure you have an equal distribution at all of your locations. And the 0% is your tier 2, so that has not been able to be worked yet. And then it'll list out the different locations. It'll also list out any of the statutes that were given or any of the safety issues that were reported or noted. You also have a target area group report that you can do if you'd like to title your report differently, and you can also do a subtitle as well. We'll go to Media Release tab. Here is where you add your media releases. This is a high visibility enforcement program, so we do ask that you do media releases to inform the public. That is press releases, media with the news, or even social media with your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram accounts. You'll put the name of it, description. Please provide links to any social media accounts so I can actually click on and see them. If you're not able to do that, please provide screenshots, and it has to where you can put documents and then submit for approval. Detail Reports tab is where you can filter out. You can see just a certain location that you have. You can also filter out if you just want to see a specific officer. And in this case, you can see that there was a detail done at location 2, a start time, the end time, the billable hours that was done. The magnifying glass allows you to view it. Here you can see that they've had 1 pedestrian educational contact, 1 bicycle educational contact, 0 motorist educational contacts, and they did not observe any safety issues. It also will list out the hours, any violations that they did, and any bicycle lights that were handed out. At any time, if you need to go back in a screen, you can hit the return button. So if you need to add a detail report, you click on Add Detail Report. You choose your location. In this case, I'll do location 1. Officer, you can choose any of the officers. Time and day. So in this case, it was worked on a Tuesday at 11, let's do a 1:30 p.m. Create detail report. So let's go to 11 a.m. Create detail report. And then it goes to where you can enter your pedestrian educational contacts that you had, any bicycle educational contacts, and any motorist educational contacts. Remember, a contact is one contact. So if you issued a citation, that trumps an educational. So you would only enter one for the citation. A warning trumps an educational. So you should be handing out educational materials at every contact you make. Please do not count them twice. Also, here is where you can enter any safety issues that you observed. Low lighting, branches in the way, painting markers need to be done. Perhaps something's not working correctly. Please note it here, and I will also give that to the FDOT district champions, and they can take care of it. If you have any images to any pictures that you can add, that's also greatly appreciated as well. Then you would enter the hours that were worked. If you need to edit that at all, you can do the pencil or you can add more hours. You have to do a detail report, one per officer, so you are not able to add multiple officers to this one detail. Any violations that were given, you can choose what statute it is. If you do not see the listed Florida statute, please email me and I can add that in iPASS for you. And then make sure if it was targeted to the correct person. And any bicycle lights that you handed out, please make sure and add your bicycle light distribution form. Here is where you would enter their name. We only need their first name and the date you distributed it. And then please sign. So this is your documentation of the bicycle light form that was given. We do not need your physical form if you did one for your agency. This is where you would enter it. And then to return back to any menu, you just hit the return. And now we'll go into the invoice tab. With the invoice tab, this is where you can add invoices or you can edit one that you've already done. In this case, it's in draft status, so you have not submitted it to us yet. The other statuses are pending our approval or approved. If at any time you need to look or edit one of these, you would do that. Or if you need to download one, you're able to download the invoice. To add an invoice, you click Add Invoice. It'll list out any of the details that you have not invoiced yet. You're able to change the date range that you would also like, and then you would hit Create. When you hit Create Invoice, you're able to, if you need to adjust their rates that are in iPASS, you're able to do that here. You're also able to split an invoice. So if they worked part of it at overtime or part of it at straight time, you're able to split it here. This is also where you would add any supporting documentation that you would have. And then you would click Sign and Submit Invoice once completed. If you'd like to preview it, you're able to preview it. If you need to add another item, you're able to do that here as well. Again, to return, you would just hit Return. You were also given a supporting documentation for invoices that was given during your executed contract email. So please refer to that too as well if you have any questions on it. And then you also have a report tab where you can see your contract activity. This will list out everything from your contacts that you've done to your hours that the officers have performed, as well as the media releases that you have done. If you have any questions during your process, please make sure that you contact us for support with that. My name is Angel Williams. I can be reached at 904-620-4748 or angel.williams@unf.edu. Thank you.